Hey everyone, welcome to Life Everlasting. Today's episode is going to be covering the process of reading sheet music and turning it into notes that you actually play. I know this can be a bit difficult. Sometimes it's really easy, sometimes it's really hard. This one's going to be kind of a basic song. I'll be doing another episode on an advanced song as well, so I'm looking forward to that. Let me know what you think of the episode. I'd love to hear it. Anything you'd like to see me do different, anything you'd like to see me cover. And until then, see you soon. Hope you enjoy the episode. So the song that we're going to be doing, I had a little trouble picking one, so I found an old one that I wrote back in high school. It's fairly simple. I'll have a screenshot somewhere over in here showing the actual sheet music itself. So I'm going to put the sheet music up there. I'll be talking about it and actually putting the notes out onto the keys. We'll probably just do the whole song, but we're just going to do one line at a time, and we're not going to combine both hands because, again, that's from the previous video. This is just putting the notes into actual notes that we hear. So with our right hand on the first measure, we start off with a half note. The first thing I do is I determine the rhythm. So I'm assuming 120 BPM. If you want to hear what that sounds like, I'll turn the metronome on for 120. Let's make sure I have it set on 120. That's 86. Let's say I want to put it on 120. Here we go, 120. Okay, that's 120. So, assuming in that, that's pretty fast. I might do it at 110, actually. That sounds more right. So, starting off at 110 rather than 120, the first thing we're going to do is count out the rhythm. So we have a half note and then 2 quarter notes on our first measure. So 1, 2, 3 is how this counts. It's like half note, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. That's how this counts. So assuming I just play one note here. That's the rhythm of it. 1, 3, 4. So here on the first measure, I'm going to determine the actual notes themselves. So the first note is an F that is above the octave that is near the middle C. So here's the one near the middle C. Where this first note, that is the first note. Second note, same note. Then after that, it's a G. So how I determined this because we're in the key of C here in this song. I wrote it in the key of C. I just notated throughout the song all the notes that are sharp and flat. So I know all of these are natural because they don't have anything marked otherwise. So I just went off just natural notes. So then finally we combine the rhythm with the notes. Wait. There we go, first measure. So second measure, same rhythm, half note, then 2 quarter notes. So the notes are G, F, and D. So if we do this again, and so now we can continue on to the third measure because that second one is pretty much identical to the first. So the third measure, we have a flat note right off the bat. Same rhythm. But we're starting off with B flat, then 2 Ds. So, following the same thing as before. At this point, I'm not too concerned with the metronome and keeping up with it because I'm more or less just getting the notes down. And once I get that and a basic idea on the rhythm, then we can fine tune it with the metronome and get it down as accurate as possible. But here at first I'm just getting the basic idea of the rhythm and the notes down and honestly memorized for me, and then after that we try to fine tune it with the metronome. So here at the fourth measure we have a D, then we have an E flat, and finally a C. So this first note is a dotted first note is a dotted quarter note, not a dotted half note, dotted quarter note. So dotted quarter note is 1.5. Then an eighth note would be half a beat, and then half notes 2. So if I play the same note here, relatively speaking, like that. So starting back from the beginning. And there we go. So onto the fifth measure, same as the first actually. So the fifth measure, as far as the right hand, is the same as the first. So then the sixth measure is G, F, and then I have an A sharp. Should have put that as B flat, but I put it as an A sharp, just to keep things consistent so they're all flat. But and like a lot of the previous ones, it's the same notes as far as length, half note and the 2 quarter notes. So starting back at the beginning. So the next one is just 4 quarter notes, pretty simple. So we're going G, D, E flat, C. And then finally the next 2 measures, I'm going to just group them into the same segment. 2 half notes and a whole note. So those would be 2 beats each for the half notes, and then just 4 for the last 2, except I missed one. So I put 2. You can combine 2 notes on top of each other like that. More often than not, you'll see them as quarter notes on top of each other or eighth notes on top of each other. But in this situation, I threw whole notes on top of each other, which just means they're played at the same time. You won't see that with something like clarinet, but with piano, it's really common. So if we start back at the beginning, so that's the first half of the song, honestly. So this next part is a little bit more complicated because we're actually going to be counting off beat. So this measure here, right after the whole note, I'm going to start off at 1. So the first measure after the whole note, the first measure after the first whole note, we're hitting a B flat, C, D, D, and then back to B flat. And I know the second one is a B flat because the first note in the measure is marked as flat. So the rest of the B's in that measure are flat. So the way this counts, as far as in rhythm, it's a little weird. We're counting off the beat, so 1 and 2, 3, and. That's how it counts. 1 and 2, 3, and. Really hard to count. So this first eighth note puts those 2 quarter notes after it off beat. And so when counting in beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to be counting on the ups rather than the downs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll be counting and, like that. So dun, dun, da, 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 da. That's how this measure counts. So it's a little strange. So it's just one of the things that takes a lot of practice to nail down right when stuff goes off beat like that. So da 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 da. Oh, missed a note. Da da, 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 da. So then the measure after that, just quarter notes, thankfully. There's our notes. Starts off at E flat. We go to D, C, then B flat. So quarter notes, pretty straightforward. So starting at the first measure after the first whole note. So the third measure after this is identical to the first one, so oops. And the measure after that is similar to the one with the other 4 quarter notes, but it's just backwards. And it's up a note. So C, D, E flat, F. So starting off at the first measure after the first whole note. So the rest of this is really straightforward, so kind of going to go quickly through this because it's just a lot of the same rhythms as before. So we're starting off at G, E flat, G. After that, it's 4 quarter notes, so, and the notes go G, F, E flat, G. The measure after that, F, F, G, so, and then after that, another 4 quarter notes. Measure after that, same rhythm as before, so D, E flat, E flat. Last measure with 4 quarter notes, it's D, C, B flat, D. And after this, I've thrown in a bunch of notes on top of each other for little reason, but it goes C and E flat, then B flat and E flat, then B flat and E flat again in the next measure, and then finally A and E flat. And then last whole note, B flat and F. So let's start from the beginning of the song and play all this all the way through. I went ahead and left my mistakes in there without the retake just to show you're not going to get this on your first try. I didn't. And this is honestly a really simple song compared to some of the stuff I've seen, so it takes some time and practice. So once you get this, the next thing to do, once you get all the notes and the basic idea of the rhythm, it's time to kick the metronome in and fine tune our rhythm and get it perfected. And one thing to note, this will sound a lot different when playing the harmony with a melody. Is just, for the purposes of this video, we're just doing the process of converting sheet music to actual music. The next step would be to fine tune that for someone playing piano like me, figure out the right way, like where to put your hand placement, so that way hitting each note is easy. So transitioning from one segment to another isn't so hard to do. After that, you just turn on the metronome and fine tune it, get the rhythm down as close as to perfect as possible. And that pretty much covers the process of translating this to actual notes. Hopefully you picked up something from it. I've learned a little bit myself in making this video, so hopefully someone learns something from this. Anyway, let me know down below what you think of the episode, what you'd like to see me cover next, what you think of the content I'm producing. I'd love to hear it. Until then, see you soon.